This is the kind of stuff we've been dealing with for 10 years.
Yeah.
We're partners in this thing. If you weren't involved here, let me tell you something.
Listen,
if I wasn't involved, this place would go to
You may know Paul Teutul Jr. from American Chopper as the calm, creative mind who built unforgettable machines. But behind the cameras, his life took a painful turn that few fans ever saw. At 51, the truth of his journey is far more heartbreaking than the dramatic fights shown on television. Hidden wounds, broken trust, and a family war shaped his world in ways that will leave you stunned. Genesis and the Ironworks Legacy. Paul Teutul Jr. was born on October 2, 1974, into a world where metal and machinery ruled his family life. Named after his father, Paul Sr., he grew up in Orange County, New York, surrounded by the clang of hammers, sparks flying from welding torches, and the constant hum of heavy machinery at Orange County Ironworks, the family business. From a young age, Jr. was fascinated by motorcycles, captivated by the power, freedom, and artistry they represented. But it was his father's ambition and vision that would shape his early life in ways both exciting and challenging. At just 12 years old, Jr. began working in the family ironworks shop. His childhood was different from most kids. While others played video games or rode bicycles, he spent summers in the shop with grown men, learning to measure, cut, and weld metal. This experience forced him to grow up fast, teaching him the discipline, skill, and resilience that would later define his career. Paul Jr. was not only learning a craft, but absorbing lessons about responsibility, loyalty, and creativity. Every railing, gate, and metal structure he worked on became part of his education. By the time he graduated from high school, Paul Jr. was already a full-time employee at Orange County Ironworks. He quickly became the head of the railing shop, respected for his craftsmanship and his ability to turn complex designs into reality. His father noticed his talent and began involving him in more ambitious projects, pushing him toward creativity beyond simple metal fabrication. This was a period of growth, where Jr.'s technical skills matured alongside his understanding of business, design, and leadership. Then came the pivot. Paul Sr. began exploring a new frontier, moving from ironworks to custom motorcycles. The idea of Orange County Choppers was born, a venture that combined craftsmanship, innovation, and entertainment. Jr. was ready. His years of hard work, sacrifice, and skill had prepared him for this moment. He stood at the threshold of something much bigger than railings and gates. The birth of OCC and the rise to fame. In 1999, Paul Sr. officially launched Orange County Choppers, a new venture that would take the family business from the world of iron fabrication into the spotlight of custom motorcycles. The shop began humbly at 10 Factory Street in Montgomery, New York, with a small crew of dedicated craftsmen. Paul Jr., already a master metalworker, was immediately recognized as the chief designer and fabricator. His creativity and technical skills set the tone for what OCC would become. The early days were filled with long hours, trial and error, and relentless ambition. Every motorcycle was a work of art, built from raw metal and powered by imagination. As word of the shop spread, Discovery Channel took notice. In 2002, American Chopper premiered, capturing audiences with a unique combination of engineering, creativity, and the fiery personality clashes between father and son. The show did not rely on professional actors. Paul Jr., Paul Sr., and the team, including Jason Pohl, Vincent DiMartino, Cody Connolly, and Michael Teutul, were craftsmen first, putting their hearts into every build. Fans were drawn not only to the motorcycles, but also to the human drama unfolding in front of the camera. The bickering, negotiations, and occasional explosive arguments became a central part of the show's appeal. Paul Jr.'s designs quickly became legendary. He had a rare ability to take a concept and transform it into a stunning, fully functional motorcycle. Each build pushed creative boundaries and often attracted media attention. His talent propelled OCC to incredible heights, turning a small workshop into a nationally recognized brand. The team eventually moved to a $12 million, 61,000 square foot facility in Newburgh, New York. The new location symbolized their growth, but also introduced financial pressures. Despite success, the business faced challenges, and in 2011, Paul Sr. had to relinquish ownership to GE Commercial Finance to avoid foreclosure. Throughout this rise to fame, the tension between father and son remained constant. Their relationship was a mix of respect, admiration, and intense conflict. Paul Jr.'s brilliance and ambition sometimes clashed with Paul Sr.'s strict control, creating moments of friction that were captured on camera. As American Chopper's popularity soared, the looming question became inevitable. The fiery arguments and competing visions hinted at a breaking point. The infamous brawl and the end of an era. By the fifth season of American Chopper, the tension between Paul Jr. and Paul Sr. had reached a boiling point. Their arguments, once minor and playful, had grown intense and unrelenting. The dynamic that had made the show captivating was now threatening to destroy both the family relationship and the company they had built together. Paul Jr. had always been proud of his work and his contributions to OCC, but repeated clashes over deadlines, designs, and respect had begun to take a toll. The pressure of creating groundbreaking motorcycles under the watchful eye of a national audience only made matters worse. The fateful day began with a small but significant incident. Paul Jr. arrived late to the shop, an action that sparked Paul Sr.'s fury. The seemingly minor issue became the trigger for a full-scale confrontation. Sr. summoned Jr. to the office, and the verbal exchange escalated quickly. Screaming matched screaming, accusations were thrown, and the emotional weight of years of conflict erupted in a single moment. When Paul Sr. highlighted alleged contract violations, Paul Jr. reached a breaking point. He grabbed a chair and hurled it across the room, marking the peak of their on-screen and real-life conflict. The aftermath was immediate and devastating. Paul Jr. was fired from both the shop and the show, leaving him professionally and personally shaken. Fans of the show were shocked by the intensity of the fight, and the moment became an iconic cultural reference, widely shared as the argument meme. Yet the televised drama only scratched the surface. Behind the cameras, the fallout extended to business ownership and personal relationships. Paul Jr. still held a 20% stake in OCC, which became the focal point of the next phase of the conflict. The clash marked the end of an era for American Chopper. The father-son partnership that had driven creativity, fame, and success now lay in ruins. The personal and professional consequences were intertwined, leaving no clear path forward for either party. The shop, the show, and the family itself faced uncertainty, and the feud was poised to escalate into a battle that would reach beyond the garage walls. The firing of Paul Jr. did not end the conflict. The struggle over ownership and control of Orange County Choppers was about to enter the legal system, setting the stage for a bitter courtroom war that would test loyalties, finances, and the resilience of the Teutul family. The public would soon witness that even fame and success could not protect them from the full force of a family feud built over decades. Sr. versus Jr. in court. After the explosive fallout at the shop, the tension between Paul Sr. and Paul Jr. shifted from the garage floor to the courtroom. Their personal conflict had grown into a full legal battle. Even though Junior was fired, he still owned 20% of Orange County Choppers. This ownership became the center of a long and painful dispute. Paul Sr. wanted full control of the company and filed a lawsuit in an attempt to force his son to sell his shares. What had once been a family dream was now turning into a legal war that neither of them could ignore. The courtroom became a new battleground. Lawyers replaced welders, and legal documents replaced motorcycle parts. Paul Jr. argued that he had earned his stake in the company through years of hard work and creativity. He believed that he had helped build OCC into a successful brand, and that his contributions were not something that could be erased. Paul Sr., however, insisted that complete ownership was necessary for the survival of the business. Each man believed he was right, and the legal struggle dragged on for months. Fans who had watched their bond grow on screen were now watching their fight unfold in real life. The father and son, who once created world-famous motorcycles together, now sat on opposite sides of a courtroom table. The arguments were no longer about design ideas or misdeed deadlines. They were about rights, control, trust, and the pieces of a shared legacy that neither could easily let go. Every hearing added more strain to their already fractured relationship. During this period, both men faced emotional and financial challenges. The stress of the lawsuit affected the entire family. The shop environment changed. The episodes of American Chopper began to reflect the deep divide, showing Sr. continuing the business with a new team while Jr. appeared in separate scenes as he explored his next steps. The show captured the pain, frustration, and uncertainty that came with the legal fight. Eventually, the legal dispute reached a turning point. A settlement was made, allowing Paul Jr. to walk away with his ownership rights intact. This outcome gave him the freedom to rebuild his life and career on his own terms. But the end of the lawsuit did not bring immediate peace. It created a shift that would soon lead Paul Jr. toward a bold new beginning, a fresh start that would change his future and the world of custom motorcycles forever. The rival empire rises. When the legal battle finally ended, Paul Jr. felt both relief and uncertainty. He had protected his ownership rights, but he had also lost his place at Orange County Choppers, the very shop he had helped build from the ground up. Even worse, he was bound by a non-compete agreement. This agreement meant that for one full year, he could not open his own motorcycle shop or create custom bikes for clients. For someone who had spent his entire life shaping metal and building dreams out of steel, the restriction felt like a cage. Still, Jr. refused to let the situation crush his spirit. Instead of becoming bitter, he used the time to think, plan, and imagine. He wanted to create something new that reflected his own vision. Away from the noise of OCC, he finally had the space to design without limits. By April 2010, his non-compete period was nearing its end, and he quietly began laying the foundation for his next chapter. Paul Jr. Designs, often called PJDD, was officially announced later that year. People across the motorcycle community and television world immediately paid attention. Some believed Jr. would gather a group of former OCC employees and turn the new shop into a rebellion. Rumors spread that Vinny DiMartino, Michael Teutul, and others would join him. Fans imagined a dramatic split that mirrored the emotional tension seen on American Chopper. In reality, Jr. brought on only one former OCC worker, Cody Connolly. Cody was young, talented, loyal, and excited to help Jr. build a fresh identity. The The timing of PJD could not have been more dramatic. Shortly after the new shop opened its doors, TLC launched a new series titled American Chopper Sr. vs. Jr. The show followed both shops and highlighted the growing rivalry. Each episode showed the two men building bikes for competing clients, making design choices that reflected their different personalities. It also showed the distance between them, not just in miles, but in trust, communication, and the sense of family that had almost disappeared. The competition pushed both teams to reach new creative heights. PJD quickly became known for its futuristic designs and clean lines. The shop gained attention for its artistic approach, proving that Junior was more than a supporting character in his father's business. He was a force on his own. As the show continued, the divide between father and son grew even deeper, and the silence between them became heavier. When the series ended in 2012, the world had witnessed the birth of a new motorcycle empire. PJD was on the rise, and JR was preparing to reveal truths he had held inside for years through a powerful memoir that would reshape how fans understood the family's story. Exposing the heartbreaking truth. As the cameras stopped rolling and the rivalry show came to an end, Paul Jr. began focusing on something far more personal than any motorcycle build. He started writing a memoir that would take him back through every chapter of his life, from the early days at the ironworks shop to the painful breakup of the family business. The book would be called The Build. It was not just a collection of memories. It was a journey into the heart of a troubled family and a man trying to understand the roots of his own struggles. The writing process was not easy for him. Every page forced him to relive moments he had tried to forget. He revisited the explosive arguments, the constant pressure, and the emotional distance that grew between him and his father. Junior explained that the fights shown on television were completely real. The shouting matches and tension had never been scripted for entertainment. They came from years of unresolved pain and frustration. TV cameras only captured a small part of the private battles that had been building for years. In the book, Junior also revealed the truth behind his father's anger. He described Paul Sr. as someone shaped by his own childhood trauma. Sr. had grown up with an alcoholic mother and a home filled with arguments. These wounds carried into adulthood and created the explosive personality viewers saw on screen. Understanding this history brought Junior a sense of compassion. It helped him see that the dysfunction in their relationship started long before either of them entered a workshop. Junior also wrote about his faith and how it helped him survive the darkest moments. He spoke about his wife, Rachel, who supported him through the emotional weight of writing the book. She worked as a fact-checker, making sure every detail in the memoir was accurate. Junior shared stories about his siblings and his mother, showing the world a broader picture of the Teutul family beyond the television drama. The book gave him a voice he had never used before, and it opened space for healing he had long needed. The Build was released to the public on November 7, 2017. Readers saw a different side of Paul Jr., one shaped by resilience and self-discovery. By sharing the truth, he hoped to move forward and finally let go of the burden he had carried for years. His story created a turning point that would soon lead him back to the place where it all began, setting the stage for a reunion filled with tension, memories, and unfinished business. The final ride and a new chapter. After years of distance, silence, and painful memories, an unexpected moment brought Paul Jr. and Paul Sr. back into the same space. In 2020, the original Orange County Choppers building, the small shop where their journey began, was set to be torn down. This news hit both men with a force they did not expect. The old building held their earliest creations, their shared dreams, and the roots of a legacy known around the world. Hearing that it would soon disappear stirred emotions in both father and son. It reminded them of who they were before fame and conflict changed everything. The producers of American Chopper saw an opportunity to bring the two men together for one final project. They proposed a 2-hour special episode. The idea was simple. Paul Jr. and Paul Sr. would build a custom bike as a team. It would be the last time their hands shaped the same machine. They agreed, even though both understood the risks. Working together again meant facing their differences, their tension, and the memories that had driven them apart. The build was commissioned by ABC Supply Company. The deadline was tight, and the expectations were high. As soon as the project began, the old patterns showed themselves. Junior wanted more creative control. His ideas were bold and artistic. Senior preferred structure and tradition. The pressure of the short timeline made every choice feel heavier. Yet something had changed since their earlier years. The arguments did not explode. The shouting did not return. Both men learned to step back, breathe, and try again. Slowly, they found a rhythm. They listened more and pushed less. Together, they shaped the final bike into a striking example of what they could accomplish when they were not fighting. Finishing the build felt like completing a long, unfinished sentence. The episode aired in August 2020 and felt like a symbolic closing chapter for fans. For Paul Jr., it was a reminder that he had built a life beyond OCC. His company, Paul Jr. Designs, continued to grow. The shop created famous bikes for major clients, including the Faro bike and the Cadillac bike. It also expanded into design work for playgrounds, parks, and even grills. Junior became known not only as a master builder, but as a versatile designer with a strong vision. His personal life flourished as well. He married Rachel in 2010 and welcomed their son Hudson in 2015. They even purchased their dream home on Long Beach Island in 2020, a sign of stability after years of turmoil. Today, Paul Jr. Designs works cooperatively with his father's company, and many former employees have returned. Peace has replaced the noise that once ruled their lives. What do you think about this emotional father-son journey? Share your thoughts in the comments.